From on fleek to delve. Did you catch me use the word delve before? I just want to say this. I've been using delve for years. It's not new. It's not because of AI. But the way we speak is changing faster than ever. And two big forces are driving it. Apparently, it's TikTok and artificial intelligence. Social media trends are spreading slang at lightning speed, turning niche catchphrases into everyday language. At the same time, tools like ChatGPT are subtly reshaping how we write and even talk as more people adopt AI-favored words. Let's talk about this with Mitch Joel, tech advisor, investor, author of Control-Alt-Delete. Mitch, welcome back to the show.
Always happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Alex.
So is your language changing over the last little while?
I think language naturally, instinctively changes over time. But what we're seeing, I believe, are two different situations. One is meme language, diss, riz, whatever the kids are saying these days, which is natural but scaled because of videos like TikTok and YouTube and just culture being able to shift and move at the pace of that. What's happening with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence is actually uniquely different, but also intertwined. And what's uniquely different is in the fact that all of this AI has really just sucked in everything we've said and written over decades and decades and decades. It is generating words most inclined that we might want to use or create the best result. And so it acts to me more as a reflection or a mirror. So, the other big one, especially with ChatGPT, is these M dashes. Like we don't write with, well, no, we actually do. All of us write with M dashes. Our writing style has changed. And so when it reflects it back and we see it, we look at it and go, well, this must be fake. It must be AI. No, it's us.
Well, so it's funny because I love the M dash. That's the double long dash, right? For anyone who doesn't know the M dash, I've loved it. And now people are saying, oh, if you see M dash, that means AI wrote it. So now it's so funny. This morning, I did an M dash and I deleted it and I replaced it with a single dash because I didn't want anyone to think it was AI. Now, Mitch, listen, pop culture has always added to language. Like two things jump into my mind. Like The Simpsons. Remember the word embiggen? That was never a word, okay? And it means like to enlarge. They threw it into one episode. It eventually enters the Oxford Dictionary. Embiggen was not a word. Simpsons used it in an episode. People found it funny. Boom, it becomes a word. I look at shows like Seinfeld, where they would come up with all of these new phrases to describe things that we all knew what they meant, like double dipping. That you double dipped. So that's always existed. I guess what's changing here is the supercharged way that it can spread.
Yeah, well, so I'm thinking about shrinkage as you're talking.
Shrinkage, yeah.
But what I think the difference is we had what was social linguistics, these types of things. What we're seeing now more in these reports and in these studies is this algorithmic linguistics, which is language on TikTok or through ChatGPT that's almost being reverse engineered for performance. And so people are using it to speak, not necessarily how they feel, but they're speaking a way in which they hope that the algorithm will reward them for it. And this is the same with ChatGPT. And so to me, the nuance in what we're talking about isn't this same old, same old. It's no, that we are seeing what works. And because it works, we're changing how we actually use those words and speak those words. And again, if we're doing that, it's almost like we're in this form of content Darwinism, right? Where it's like the weirdest, sharpest, most context collapse, like all of that stuff is suddenly the way we might think it's clarity, but it's not.
Well, I'm all for survival of the fittest, Mitch. We're with Mitch Joel, who's the founder of ThinkersOne, and we're talking about how AI and social media are changing our language at an impressive speed. But here's the thing, Mitch, that concerns me, and that is repetition. It's getting repetitive. And we've talked about how, there's sometimes people come out with a new AI tool or they say, oh, look at this new thing with ChatGPT, or look at this new AI tool that can create a podcast out of nothing, right? And the first time I interact with these tools, I go, wow, oh my God, our jobs are finished. This is over. And then by the time I've seen this tool the fifth time, I'm like, it's just repeating itself. It's boring. So my worry is that what's happening with these tools is that we're just going to get down this path where everything sounds so similar and we're losing the flair, the things that make a language unique.
Yeah, I know. I fully agree. And I think that people are always craving authenticity, not just accuracy, not just what works in the system. I also think that we are always valuing a bit of a glitch, a bit of a pause, maybe a bit of the imperfection because it creates a different word or capture that makes us feel that. But I also think that repetition has historically always been the cultural problem. You write a great hit song and you write another song that sounds like that song, and where's your career? We have these things, they're called one-hit wonders for a reason. So that's the balance we're always dealing with. The more people who use ChatGPT in the way you're speaking about it get the repetition and the boredom. The more people who are using it to actually grow and come up with new angles and different ways of thinking are the ones who are going to always advance. But I don't think that that's what's limited to these tools. I think that's been the way in which we define who are the winners and losers in our society. But at the same way, it's hard not to look at this and realize that at scale, it is truly changing culturally who we are. And that's very unique.
And there's a couple of things, like technology and, streaming and social media, we've all become nicheified, right? Like no two people now have the same likes anymore. Like everyone's musical taste is completely different. We all watch different television shows, where in the past, you just go back 20, 30 years ago, we would all watch the same show at 9:00 on Thursday, right? So all of that has changed. So do you find it interesting? There are some things that are coalescing, like language. Everyone's talking the same. But we don't have the same interests, or we don't follow all the same things that like we used to in ways when it comes to pop culture. How do you view that? Because there's a disparity there on the things that we're doing that are similar and the things that are very different now.
Yeah, there's a greater bifurcation that happened because a lot of social media was driven by what's called the social graph. The fact that I know you and you know me, so what we share is of somewhat interest. And if that third party comes in where you know them and I don't, I might be more interested. What's happened mostly because of TikTok, and I think leading into this, is we've now moved to the interest graph, which is all of these things, not who I'm connected to, but what I'm interested in. Now, what that means is in a world of all this specificity and uniqueness, your For You page on TikTok is very different from mine, even though we have very similar interests. And that creates its own little messed up ecosystem. At a grander scale, to think about this, I would go down the street and ask 10 people, name me 5 Taylor Swift songs, and see who actually knows 5 Taylor Swift songs. And now think about this, biggest artist in the world, billions of dollars in revenue, and I don't know, older people who are out of touch, anybody who's currently even in culture. And that shows you, I can't even do that. And I'm in the music business. So here we sit at this point where you're right. There's so much content. There's so much ways we can engage with it. So it changes us. And these are important conversations because we have to figure out, who do we want to be in this perhaps leading towards a more ununique time?
I would say it's problematic, but social media has made me sick of that word, so I won't use it. Mitch, I got to leave it there. I want to thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Elias.
Mitch Joel right there, founder of ThinkersOne.